Hello Wargamers, Invasive Ramness here, and welcome to the first official episode of my Q&A series. Today I'm on the road, actually this whole weekend I am, so I figured during the hours of travel it would be a good time to answer some questions. So here we go. If I don't answer your question this time, don't take it personally. I will potentially answer it in a future episode, but if you have questions for me, please leave them in the comments below, and of course your likes and subscriptions are greatly appreciated. So first question, Dick Beer asks, new to your channel, so tell me what your channel is about, please. So my channel is loosely defined as Tau, Eldar, and Tyranid commentary, tactica, hobby, and battle reports. So I try to provide content that I would like to watch and think that other people might want to watch it too. And so sometimes that is just showing videos on how I do things, or sometimes it's codex reviews, because when I look at the forums and when I give advice on the forums, I try to provide thoughtful rationale for why I suggest changes or why I'm giving that advice, right? A lot of times I see comments on 40K forums that are just like, hey, you gotta take X, Y, and Z units and then you're all good. And I try to not do that and try to provide a rationale for why I'm providing that advice, because I think more important than just telling someone what units to bring is why you should bring them. You know, I guess kind of like the teach a man to fish versus give a man a fish type thing, but yeah, but most importantly, I think it's about having fun, and so the videos that I make, I try to make them with that in mind, that, you know, this is something that people should be having fun with, and part of the fun is strategizing, part of the fun is doing the hobby, part of the fun is playing the game. So that's really what my videos are about and what my channel is about. I started playing 40K probably about 12 or 15 years ago. And I originally played fantasy. I played Wood Elves, and that's how I first got into the miniature wargaming type, the miniature wargaming stuff. And then Tau came out, and I thought they were really cool, so I started playing 40K with my friends, and I played Tau for a handful of years, and then took a few years off when I went to college, and picked the hobby back up when I was done with college. And so I've been playing for a few years now, and that's kind of the perspective that I take on it. I don't claim to be an expert on anything, right? But I do have a few years of experience that I think probably you know, give me some ideas worth sharing on some things in the hobby and with the game. So that's what I try to do. All right, next question. Hi Lord Zamarin asks, hey, I really liked your codex reviews. Are you planning on commenting on the other entries of the Tau Codex, like Skyrays, or revisit something besides the crisis suits? And do you bring allies when playing Tau, and did that change with the release of the new Space Marine Codex? Yeah, so that's a good question. Basically, yes, I'm going to continue the Tau Codex review, and I'm going to be doing a review on the Farsight Enclave Supplement 2 when that comes out with a hard copy version. I just don't have an iPad, so I can't do a video on something that I don't have access to. So, but yes, I will continue doing all the entries in the Tau Codex. I think probably next week I will do the Sun Shark Bomber and Razor Shark assault flyer, or whatever the name is, the Razor Shark. I'll do those videos soon, and I will probably do Vespid in short order as well. As far as revisiting units, you know, it really the only time I would revisit a unit is if I have, you know, some sort of new perspective on that unit, or, you know, a recent release has really impacted the way you might want to use that unit or not use that unit or whatever. So far the units that fit that criteria, those criteria are Crisis Suits, which I've already done, Ethereal, maybe a little bit. The Crisis Commander I think I will revisit, and Kroot I will also revisit. So there's 3, potentially 4 revisit videos there. So yeah, so I will do more revisit videos, especially if that's something that you guys are interested in seeing. So you know, let me know what units you want me to revisit, or you want more detail on, or anything like that. When I get a request, I try to address it, you know, in a relatively short period of time. As far as allies, I do bring Eldar allies. Right now I'm bringing a Farseer on jet bike and a unit of 6 jet bikes, just for mobile scoring. And if you look at my Eldar as Tau allies video, you'll kind of see my reason why I do that. As far as it changing with the new Space Marine Codex, again, look at my Space Marine as allies video if you're interested in that. But no, I haven't changed what I'm taking for allies since the release of the Space Marine Codex. I do think that they would provide some good mobile scoring in the form of bikes, and they also have some good opportunities for anti-tank with grav guns. So grav guns on bikes could be a really good combo, and they would be great allies for Tau too. So that's potentially something that you might want to do. It might be something that I do in the future, but right now I'm sticking with Eldar allies. Next question is Rob VD Velden asks, with Tau I have a problem dealing with high armor tanks. What is your solution without diving into allies? So yeah, Tau do have kind of a hard time dealing with high AV vehicles. There are kind of 2 different options that you have for dealing with this. You could take a hammerhead with a railgun, potentially with a long strike upgrade, or you could take fusion blasters. Now, I guess you could also take an ion accelerator on a Riptide and try to Nova charge it for the ordnance blast. That's another option, but a little bit more riskier than the other 2 potentially. What I do to deal with high AV vehicles is that I have a unit of Crisis Suits with plasma rifles and fusion blasters, and I deep strike them in, sometimes with a buff commander, sometimes without, and they can take care of vehicles pretty reliably. And they also have enough firepower to deal with other threats that are there at the same time. So once you take care of a vehicle, you're not, you know, sitting there with anti-tank weapons and no tanks to shoot. You can shoot them at other high priority targets, and they're quite versatile in that way. So that's my solution, is Crisis Suits with plasma rifles and fusion blasters. Obviously the fusion blasters are the part that are able to take care of the high AV vehicles. Zebediah McGill asks, what do you recommend for a fun Tau list that is less competitive, so it gives orcs, etc. a chance? So I think something that a lot of people fail to really talk about in the 40K community, especially online in the forums or anything like that, is it's a game. You're supposed to have fun with it. So, you know, if you don't like Riptides, if you don't like the way they look, or you just don't like the idea of a Riptide, don't bring a Riptide. Bring something that's fun for you to play. So as far as what you should bring in a fun list that is less competitive, just bring whatever you want. If your question is, what's not super strong, then you have a few options, but really you can't really go wrong with a lot of the units in the Tau Codex. It's really a well-written and well-balanced codex, and the Tau bring a lot. Really, the problem is there are just some choices that are slightly better than others, and so that's why you see Riptides and Broadsides instead of Crisis Suits and Sniper Drone teams. That's all. So if you want to make a list that was still fun to play, meaning you had some cool combos that you can do and different units that you could use, that would still not just wipe a Orc player off the board. Well, first, it kind of depends on how competent of a player the Orc player is, right? Because your list is only part of the game. Having a keen tactical mind is something that's really going to go a long way toward making an army list effective or not. So the ability of your opponent is important here. But I would say, again, bring whatever you want. Sniper drone teams are fun. They're something you don't see that often. Bring sniper drone teams. Bring crisis suits and stealth suits. Bring fire warriors. Devilfish if you want. Piranhas. Bring a cadre fireblade. They're not something that I recommend in competitive games, but it's a cool model and it's kind of a fun idea. So bring a fireblade. Bring a Sunshark bomber. That's something that when I'm going to be doing my kind of more casual games, I'm going to be bringing a Sunshark bomber just because I want to have something that's flying on the board, something that's not stuck in the ground. I like going right. So bring a flyer. Bring whatever you want. I think it's really just what not to bring in this scenario. I wouldn't bring a lot of broadsides. I wouldn't bring a lot of riptides. I wouldn't bring a buff commander with pure tide engram chip and multi-spectrum sensor suite, command and control node. I wouldn't bring him. Because all these things are just really are the things that people are afraid of on the board, and so if you kind of take some of those away, you're going to provide a more well-rounded, potentially, if that's the word you want to use, list that's going to be a little bit more of a give and take with your opponent. So that's what I would recommend. Alright, I think that's going to be it for this episode. Like I said, if I didn't answer your question this time, I might answer it in a future episode. But if you have other questions, please leave them in the comments below. And thanks for watching. Happy wargaming!